Hi, welcome to the Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. Today's topic is about suiting up and showing up. And I was correlating this idea to yesterday's topic about that inner voice and how we quiet it down, how we respond to it, how we have the confidence to tell that inner voice that it's wrong. Because my inner voice lies to me a lot and tells me how much of a failure I am, how much I am not successful. Like my inner voice is, I mentioned this when I shared the episode yesterday on social media, that my inner voice is like a bully. And it tries to tell me all of these terrible things about myself. Um, my inner voice is probably one of the worst bullies I've ever encountered. And that's really unfortunate. But how do I counteract that? Like, how do I have the confidence? Where do I dig and find confidence to stand up to the inner voice and say, you're completely wrong. And I'm not a failure and I am good and I am a nice person. Um, yeah, this whole idea of getting that inner voice to just shut up and let me navigate life without it having to narrate things for me. Because that's what this book was telling me yesterday. And I'm going to continue the book today if I'm able to. My daughter's still in town. She's sick. Now my husband's sick. So um, I still feel fine, but I am manic about washing my hands and not touching my face. But I would be surprised if I don't get sick. We'll see. Um, but I would like to continue the book because it's saying a lot of good stuff about um, how how do I experience life when that inner voice is quiet and I'm just present. I think that's what it's talking about with being present and meditation. It's talking about how we carry that meditative state of mind into our day, into our daily activities. How do we keep calm and quiet inside, between our ears while we're going through the day? And that's freaking hard. I really resonated with when the book was talking about, and no, I haven't finished it yet. As I said, I'm going to try to keep going today. But how, when I take a walk with my dog, if I'm not listening to a book, if I don't have a narrator telling me a story, then my inner voice is telling me a story. And usually, it's not a good story. Usually if I were to fast forward, it doesn't have a happy ending. And so that's why a lot of times I listen to books because it's a replacement for my inner voice. And I've known that. I've known that since I guess when I had my stroke is when I really started obsessing about listening to books. And I knew I was listening to them and it was helping me to not have to deal with the inner voice, not have to hear it. It kind of mutes it. I can't hear my inner voice while I'm actually engrossed in a book. Um, so there are times when I actually have to stop and sit with my inner voice, have a conversation with her, tell her that she's not welcome, or if she's going to hang out here, she needs to be kinder to me. Um, so That is when I can calm my inner voice. But then the other thing that I realized this morning when the topic was suiting up and showing up was that when I do the next right thing, that inner voice, that negative inner voice quiets down. Um, if I'm not doing the next right thing, like let's say I want to do yoga today. And I have been getting on my yoga mat a little more, so I've been really proud of myself for that. Not every day, like, I obsess, but I have been getting up, or not getting up, getting on the yoga mat a little more, and that has been feeling accomplished. Um, so if I'm thinking I want to do yoga today, if I don't do yoga today, that inner voice is going to tell me how much of a failure I am. How much like, well, it's just another day. You didn't do you didn't meet your goal today, and it will start beating me up for something that I feel like I didn't do right. If I turn off my wanter throughout the day and I carry out some of these goals that I have, maybe I don't feel like doing yoga. I still need to get my mat out and lay on it. And if that's the best I can do today, I've met my goal because I've laid on the mat. If I get my mat out and I lay on it, then I consider that an accomplishment. And the reason why I do is because I did yoga in person for quite some time, and then I did it online for quite some time when COVID started, for years. And what I was told repeatedly is if you get on the mat and you just do child's pose the whole time, you're still on the mat, and that's an accomplishment. So along the same lines is going to my sobriety meetings. Like, um, if I log into a sobriety meeting, but my inner voice is talking so loud that I can't listen to what's going on in the meeting, I don't feel like a failure. I still showed up. There's only so much that I can control within myself sometimes. Sometimes my emotions or my chatter inside my head is just so freaking loud that the best that I can do is go through the motion. And maybe I'm not mentally present, but I'm trying to work towards it. So I'm taking actions to work towards quieting my mind, towards serenity. Kind of like I talk about choosing the path towards happiness. Um, if I do those things, then my inner voice quiets down. If my inner voice is quieted down, then I don't fall back to my old behaviors. I don't crave alcohol. I am a better human being if I quiet down the voice. So it's all like really a ripple effect. And sorry, Boris is on my lap, and sometimes he's like a roly-poly where he's on his back and he can't turn over. So I thought that's what he was doing, but it doesn't seem like it. He's just staring at me. Oh, he has rolled over. Okay, the roly poly is now on his feet. So, suiting up and showing up for life is simply translated to participating in life, whether I want to or not. When I woke up this morning, I was super, super tired. It's just been a lot. I keep holding back a yawn. But I just keep doing the action to work towards what is a healthy, happy recovery. I am getting up. I'm taking my dogs out. I'm going to my meeting. I've got my coffee. I started this new crochet project I am crocheting with twine and I'm making, depending on what it turns out to be, I am aiming towards making a beach bag. So I thought that was pretty cool. The only reason I decided to do that is because Autumn got a hold of my twine and it is a bird's nest right now. So I was like, what can I do with this twine instead of throwing it away? And so there you have it. I'm making a big beach bag. Um, and that's how I participate in life. And I hit record on here, whether I feel like it or not. In the past couple days, like, don't take offense to this, but I haven't wanted to record. I'm really just I'm just taking the action. I'm hitting the record button and I'm starting to talk. I was reminded this morning in my morning meeting about some of the topics that we talked about this month. Things like true ambition, um, things like praying for others. I've talked about that a lot, I feel like this month. Um, talking about like um, not taking actions according to um, my reactions, like pausing and allowing myself to kind of settle and figure out how to respond instead of react. Um, how to love others and accept others exactly as they are. And these topics have been really good around the holiday season. A lot of it for me has focused on my relationships, not only with other people, but also my relationship with myself. And I need those reminders in order to stay motivated in my recovery, so that I can continue to repeat. And I can't even tell you how many times I repeat to myself, okay, do the next right thing. Just do the next right thing. You don't have to want to. I mean, thank God I can do the next right thing and I don't have to want to. I used to say this to my kids when it was time to eat their vegetables. I would say, you don't have to like it, you just have to eat it. Can you imagine if I made you like it, how difficult that would be? And they were like, yeah, yeah, that would be hard, you know? And it made them, hopefully, it made them happy that they didn't have to like it. They just had to eat it because that would be even more challenging. So that's how I go about life. Like, when I say I'm turning off my wanter, I don't have to like what I'm doing. I just have to do it. And if I do it, when I do it, that have to do it turns into I get to do it. I have been secretary this year in my weekend sobriety meetings. And what that means is I volunteered to welcome newcomers into the group, to announce any important news or announcements related to sobriety to the group. I ask if anyone's celebrating and commend them for their anniversary and that kind of thing. And when I start off my secretary's report every Saturday and Sunday, I say, "Good morning, I'm Rachel, I'm an alcoholic, and I get to be your weekend secretary." And I did that on purpose because I wanted to remember every time that I got to do it that it's a treat, it's a pleasure. It's not something that I have to do. It's not something that I should be looking at as like, ugh, I have to do weekend secretary today. Because what it really is an action that's strengthening my sobriety. So I get to have the opportunity every Saturday and Sunday to do something out of self to no matter how I feel, get bubbly because that's what I was trying to do. Like, I don't want to be a weekend secretary who's like, hey, good morning. Yeah, and just go through the motions. I try to be very bubbly. It's the same, uh, it's the same characteristic that I liked to use at work. I was in marketing and I felt very strongly that my team and I needed to be um, an encouraging and happy group team because we are selling. You know what we're doing? We were actually selling ourselves to ourselves. You know, we're selling our job to ourselves. Be happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. If I am talking to you, but I'm feeling very down, how can I possibly encourage you to communicate to customers in a positive way? So the people inside the company were my customers and they were the customers of my team. So I always tried to encourage people to um, speak positively and, when you're dealing with somebody outside of the team. I tried. I know it's hard because uh, a lot of communications weren't always positive what we were talking about, but hopefully that translated while I was there. So I try to do that today, even outside of my job, when I'm talking to my kids, when I'm talking to people in sobriety, when I'm talking to my husband. Um, I try really hard to be positive because I want that back. I want people to give me positivity. And the first step in doing that is to share positivity back. So that's what suiting up and showing up is for me. It's participating in life, but it's participating in life enthusiastically. That's not what suiting up and showing up tells me I have to do. Um, but for me, it goes along with it because I don't want to participate in life and just be hating going through the motions. I want to be enthusiastic about it. And it's like that phrase I always say about when you smile on the outside, a smile builds on the inside. That is so true. And that's how I try to walk through life. That's what suiting up and showing up is for me. So thanks for suiting up and showing up to the podcast episode today. And I will talk to you tomorrow.